What's up, you so rare dorks? Welcome back. It's game week 23, and it's time to dive into a little value hunting. Now, I'm sure if you've been watching any NBA this past game week or just this past week in general, there's been a lot of injuries. So that is going to shake things up quite a bit. But before we dive into it, just a reminder, if this is your first time here, do me a favor, like the stream, subscribe to Team Hold So Rare, hit the little notification button so you know when we go live. And just a reminder, too, on Mondays and Fridays, right before lock, we do a live before lock show at 5:30 p.m. Eastern time. We break down the entire slate. We dive into the NBA projections and then give you all the injury news. And then, of course, we give away a rare tier card. All right, that's enough business. Let's dive in. So we just got the word from our man Wojnarowski that Tyrese Halliburton had a weird fall against the Celtics at the beginning of the week, and it looks like he's going to miss a couple of weeks. Looks like it's just a sprain, so it's nothing too serious. When it went down and he got carted to the locker room, it looked like it was going to be donezo for both Halliburton and the Pacers. But the good news is, if you're a Hally fan or a Pacers fan or just a basketball fan, because the dude is fun to watch, he's going to be back in a little bit. But because of this injury news, we are going to start in Indiana, and we got two plays for you, both of them guards. One probably a little bit more fun to play. The other, you kind of, I don't know, you hold your nose a little bit and see what happens. But we're going to get started with TJ McConnell. McConnell always continues to be a guy that when he comes into the game, he cooks. He cooks when he gets minutes. You can see his limited tier card here. He's got a cap of 21. It's $11. His rare, year two cards. His rare year two is at 122. Let's see what his year one is at 32. So clearly a huge gap between the year two card and the year one card. So McConnell, with that cap of 21, projects for just over 30 points. Let's say 32 to 35 range. Now, I do think his ceiling is north of 40, and we're going to talk about the second guy here kind of in tandem. I think you can play both TJ McConnell and Andrew Nembhard, who's the second guy that we're going to talk about. Nembhard, for value purposes, probably pops a little bit more because his cap is 15, and he projects less than TJ McConnell, but it just gives you more wiggle room when you're building. I do think you can play both of them together because, again, they have two games this upcoming game week, and so one can pop in one game, one can pop in the other game. However, I do think like both of them can pop in the same game as well. We already know that the Pacers play a pretty fast brand of basketball. Of course, that probably ticks down a little bit with no Tyrese Halliburton. However, I mean, there's still, even if it ticks down a little bit, they're still one of the fastest teams in basketball. So for McConnell, like I said, he's got a cap of 21, projects from that 32 to 35 range. Nembhard's cap is 15 and projects for just under 30 fantasy points. So I do think if you already have those cards, those are like must plays if you're trying to win. I totally understand. Like, again, if you're sitting on a year two TJ McConnell, this is the most expensive it's ever going to get. So totally understand if you're going to flip that. But because we're talking about buying and selling things, it is important that we, put a little PSA out there, a little disclaimer so we don't get sued by Big So Rare.
None of this is financial advice. Do what you love what you do. Something like that, right?
All right, so we looked at the McConnell prices. Let's dive into Nembhard real quick to see what he looks like. Again, cap of 15. So his limited tier 2 is $10. Let's look at that year one, baby. That year one looks like it's at $8.59. And is rare, the gap between year one and year two. So you can get that year one for 35. The year two is all the way up to 71. I'll look at my club here just for a second so you can see I did buy. I bought these like the second the Halliburton injury went down, and clearly the Nembhard jumped up $30. The TJ McConnell is still kind of the same, but anyways, so I will be rolling out both. If not both of them together, I'll be playing them in separate lineups or something like that. So I'm a big fan of what the Pacers are going to be doing. We're going to go to Toronto next, and again, this just plug your nose, do whatever you need to do. Shout out our friend Michael Weisberg, who in the chat called this out, but Thaddeus Young. Thad here has a cap of 3. That's why that's fun. A cap of 3 is fun. Real quick, I'm going to, you're not going to see this, but I'm pulling up the box score here of last night's Raptors game and Lakers game. And so Jakob Poeltl is going to be out. He's going to be reevaluated in 7 to 10 days. So let's just be safe and say he's going to miss 2 weeks of basketball. The Raptors are super thin in the front court. And so, yes, they can play Barnes big, they can play RJ big, Siakam big, of course, but they're still going to start a center. It was Thad Young who started this first game against the Lakers. And the Lakers are a tough matchup because you got Anthony Davis to deal with. But Thad Young came in. He played 29 minutes. He went 5 for 9 from the field. He scored 10 points with 5 boards, 4 assists, and 3 steals, which is really going to prop up his most recent game week as we take a look at it right now to see what that final score was here. And you can see his limited year one you can get for $5.64. Now, he scored 34 points. 34 freaking points. So I do think this is something to pay attention to. This has a ton of risk, but also a ton of reward. So we do like those when you're trying to take down a podium, right? So Thad Young is definitely in play here. Looking at his projections, let's see what Thad Young lines up with. He's not currently projecting right now in most projection stuff, and I think that's because they just haven't reacted to the news. And again, there's a lot of volatility in this because who knows? Maybe they go Otto Porter Jr., who did not play. He was because he had a right knee sprain. But you also had Chris Boucher, who only played 14 minutes off of the bench, and we thought he was going to be the big winner of this injury. He played 14 minutes off the bench. Maybe it just wasn't a right matchup with him, and Darko will throw him into the next game a little bit more. And his ceiling's a little bit higher because in those 14 minutes, he only had 2 points, but he had 7 boards, 2 steals, and a dime. So I do think we can take a look at Boucher as well here. But I think I would lean Thad because Boucher's cap is 16. And so it's kind of already like, I don't know, how high does it? He probably projects for just north of 20. I think I would lean Thad Young over our friend Chris Boucher here. And again, it's definitely scary. So like, know that there's a lot of risk involved, but if you want to get freaky deaky, baby. All right, we're going to look at Detroit. I'm just going to pull this one up quick and I'm not going to talk about it because Killian Hayes projects really well with no Cade Cunningham. And let me just tell you, he was dog doo last night. He was not a good play. He did not do a lot of fun stuff. Played a lot of minutes, looked lost out there. I really don't see how they play him as much as they do. In what did he play? Here we go. 31 minutes. He took 4 field goal attempts, went 1 for 4 from the field, 2 for 2 from the line, finished with 4 points, 7 dimes, 4 boards, and 6 mother turnovers. Okay. So I hate playing Killian Hayes. Jaden Ivey, on the other hand, his usage went way up. He played 33 minutes, started for them, and had 22.6 dimes and 5 boards. Though Killian Hayes, I'm telling you, he's going to project well everywhere. Just know going in, it could be garbage. Ivy, on the other hand, cap at 30. Like, that's not even as sexy because his cap's already as high as it is, but whatever. If you want to go that route, I trust Ivy more than I trust Killian Hayes. I will tell you that right now. I'm going to give you 2 more plays, both from the San Antonio Spurs. So Trey Jones has made his way into the starting lineup. The Spurs are kind of tough to peg a lot of the times because Pop messes around with minutes constantly. So you have to keep that in mind. But Trey Jones here, his limited year 2 card is going for $5.50. His rare tier $32. Obviously both have a cap of 21. Trey Jones projects for just over 32 points. So you're getting an 11 boost there on projections. But again, you have to deal with freaking Popovich, and who knows, maybe he's like, actually, we're going back to Jeremy Sohan. So like, good luck dealing with that. But I do that Trey Jones does project really well. The one that I'm more interested in, because Zach Collins is going to miss way more time. You got Dominic Barlow, keeping that bar low. Cap of 10, right? $4 right here. His rare tier 1 is going for 22. And Mr. Barlow, with a cap of 10, projects for over 22 fantasy points. So that is definitely something we can get behind. Again, it's Greg Popovich. He can all of a sudden decide to go to Sandro. But Sandro, who we've talked about before, has not been playing too much, and Barlow has been a little bit more consistent, right? Dropped 22 points against that Bucks in that fun game, 20 against the Cavs. They played Detroit tonight. So my recommendation, since this is going out before this game starts, or before like this game week ends, I guess you could say, I would take a look at what Barlow does tonight against Detroit in a favorable matchup. I think that could be the Barlow play, could be a little bit fun. I think I would rank what we've gone over today. The 2 Pacers guys, like, clearly ahead of the pack. And then I do kind of like Barlow. Detroit makes me nervous. But yeah, there you have it. That is for game week 23. I hope you have found these videos to be useful. Let me know in the description. Are you kidding me? Let me know in the chat or in the comments who you are targeting here for game week 23. I think this is going to be those injuries really shook stuff up. We also had Ja Morant go down, and I don't know. I actually don't think that's going to like pick anybody up too high because Desmond Bain is already like Ja hasn't played that many games. So Desmond Bain's cap's already right. Jaren Jackson Jr., I actually think plays better when Ja Morant is back. So I'm not really too excited about Triple J. Vince Williams Jr., I think, is a fun play. You can take a look at him. Luke Kennard and Marcus Smart. But again, I think their caps are accurate. Just a bummer. It's a bummer that we lose both Ja Morant and Tyrese Halliburton for a little bit of time because they're fun basketball players to watch. Again, appreciate for everybody for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure you come back for Live Before Lock. Check out all of our other content. You can see pinned on our YouTube channel. You can see our other channel, Team Hold Sports, which has been a lot of fun, curated evergreen content, and Team Hold Live, where every single morning we go live for the NBA bit where we break down last night's NBA action. Let's get after it. We're out.